Hi everyone. So I welcome you to the class of business to business marketing. And today we are going to talk about a very important part of the marketing mix, right? We're going to talk about pricing and how pricing impacts any market that is, especially the B2B market. That is what we are going to discuss in this unit. So in the last lecture we talked about the product, right? So in any marketing mix, when we say product price promotion or product price place promotion, basically the importance, it suggests the importance too, right? So product obviously goes as the first determinant or the most important determinant, but after the product what we have, especially for the B2B, is the price, right? So, what is price and how price affects this market? Let us talk about it. So, if you look at it, the first slide, it says price is the only element of the marketing mix that generates revenue, while all other elements lead to cost. Now, just imagine for a situation, now when you are selling a product, right? So, there are several costs that right? So, let us say raw material cost, there is raw material cost, then you have logistics cost, you have insurance cost, you have obsolescence cost, you have supply chain, other costs, whatever right? Then you have human resource cost. So the word cost is associated with every function that you can think of, okay? But that's why that what it means is every other element of the marketing mix, they only add up to the cost, they don't add to the revenue. But price is the final element or the most important element that generates revenue, right? So this is the only one that leads to revenue and the all other lead to cost, right? So that's where we can understand that proper pricing is very important, and if organizations need to survive, they need to understand price. Yeah, there is no doubt price is a little complicated subject in comparison to product price, promotion, or availability. Price is a little complicated. You have to understand price better in order to be successful, because if you don't have a right understanding about price and how people are sensitive to price, then you can easily make losses or create challenges for the company, right? So let us talk about it little more detail. So when we talk about B2B pricing, so what is B2B pricing, or what is pricing for that? In B2B, it represents the value customers place on a product. For it is not only for B2B, it can be also for B2C. So what we understand is the value that customers place on a product. Now this is little more important in the B2B case. Why? Because B2B products are little different in nature, their characteristics are different in nature. For example, B2B products are bulky, complicated, complex machineries, they are customized according to the design that is required by the customer. So there are several issues involved in the B2B, right, product. If you look at a small standardized product in the FMCG sector or any consumer good, it is all similar, right? But when you look at a B2B product, it is basically the complexity, right? Several products are assembled together to make one product. Several products, let us say, which are sub assemblies or sub parts, together are added up to make the final, let us say for example the car or something, or a computer or something. Then B2B products are heavily customized, right? So they are customized means what? They are designed according to the requirement of the customer. So the specification, the measurement is given by the customer, what he or she wants, what the company wants, and accordingly the seller would customize the product and make it according to the requirement of the buyer. So B2B products have the pricing becomes very important, very sensitive, very complicated. We do not know, right, because there are several products, as I said, complexity, several products. So as several products are involved, now making the pricing is a little bit challenge, okay. So which is entirely different to a consumer product which is standardized in nature. It is, let us say, it goes through the assembly line and mass production is happening. B2B may not be like that. So this is one of the most difficult issues that companies face. What is the right price to charge, right? So what is that right price we should be charging to the customer? Now this question is really difficult. Why? See, you should understand that if you let us say the price of a product is let us say rupees 10, right, and we are selling let us say no 10 lakh products, 10 lakh units. Now let us say if I am, and the entire value comes out to 1 crore, let us say, if I am even placing at 9 rupees or 11 rupees, what is happening here? In each case, I am, if I am putting 9 lakhs, I am losing 10 lakh, 1 lakh, and if I am keeping 11 rupees, I am gaining plus 1 lakh, right. So, we can just imagine that what looks very innocuous or harmless to us can have a profound effect, right. So, if you underprice, then you are into a loss. If you overprice, then also you can be a loss. Why? Because if you overprice the product, there is a chance that the customer might not be willing to pay that, right. So, pricing is a little bit challenging issue, right. But the good thing about it is, in the B2B market, it is very difficult to ascertain the exact price. Why? See, the simple reason behind it is, if you compare it with a consumer good, the consumer good is a standardized good, the MRP is written over it, right. The consumer can easily guess by comparing to its to its competitor products. But what about a B2B machinery or a software? You cannot challenge, because it is relevant, the price is dependent on the value that the customer is generating. Now, what do I mean by value? Now, let us say if the my product is such an important product that, and without, suppose let us say I am buying XYZ product, a XYZ valve let us say, and if this valve breaks down for some reason, the cost of the valve may be let us say rupees only 10,000, let us say, I am just giving an example. But if this valve does not function and the work comes to a halt, I may lose maybe 1 lakh rupees. I am just giving an example. So, the marketer is the buyer is less bothered about the price of the product. So, sometimes it becomes very complicated, because the value is more important, and understanding this value is really a serious matter. Why pricing is important? Because as we said, you can see here, it is the most flexible marketing mix, right. For example, when you compare it with the product, place or promotion, marketing pricing is the most flexible marketing mix, right. You can change the price, you can change the price, but you cannot change your distribution or your advertisement communication very easily, or even the product design very easily. But you have that scope to change the price. But yes, I am not saying you can do it, because obviously people are very sensitive to the product's price. So, if you do any changes, there might be reactions to that, they might welcome, they might go against it. But anyway, it is a very flexible, because it is easy to make a change. Setting the right price sets the tone. Now, whenever you look at a product, right, if the product has a right price, is placed right, is priced right, then automatically what happens is that people would love to try the product. So, there is a heavy chance or high chance that a right price will lead the sales on a roll the help in the in the momentum of the sales, right. That means sales can easily happen if the pricing of the good is made right. It creates the first impression. So, it creates the first impression, a good price creates a first impression, whether the the consumer can think whether the company is exploiting us, or it is giving us a good value product, what it is doing. Pricing sometimes behaves or plays the important role of sales promotion. Now, just imagine, you must have seen several cases where you are talking about free coupons, you are giving discounts, you are trying to give some special discounts. So, this is nothing but you are trying to play with the price, right. You are trying to disturb, you are trying to make some changes in there. So, using pricing as a part of the sales promotion has been a very old technique, and a very successful technique since long time, right. And companies have been using by to attract the customer. For example, I would not mind saying, Indian market people are extremely sensitive to price, and they would be if there is a let us say discount offer or there is a free goods or something offered, then we can see the rush, right. We must have seen in some discount stores or some supermarkets or somewhere, when there is a free stuff coming up, there is a lot of rush. Okay. So, that behaves as a part of the sales promotion. This price influences the demand. Now, as I said, if you increase the price, let us say by even a few percentage, right, you have increased the price by 5%, there is a chance that the demand may come down by 20% possible, or 10% possible, right, if the people are more sensitive. But if suppose it is a product, for example, recently Hindustan Unilever Limited changed its price, right. They increased most of its products, the price of most of its products by 3 to 15%. So, this is the range that they increase the price of the products, but still they could maybe maintain the momentum, because they are a very important brand and they are very popular brand in the Indian market and globally also. So, I am talking about Indian case. So, because of this brand value, they can still manage. But what about a new company who is new? If they increase the price, people may retaliate, they may not buy the product. It determines the profitability. It is interesting, a study by Harvard, right, Harvard study said that if you increase the price by 1%, the reflection, keeping all other things constant, the variable go, the cost, the selling, the fixed cost and everything, right, and the amount of sales and everything, the profitability of a company increases by 11%. Now, you can understand, if I am increasing the price of my goods, assuming that the sales remains same, my variable cost remains the same, my fixed cost remains the same, my profitability of the company increases by 11%. Now, this is a very important thing to know, that just imagine if now if I go back to this case where Hindustan Unilever Limited has increased from 3 to 15% on various products. So, some 1, some 3, some 4, some 5, some 15, that means if we assume that Hindustan Unilever maintains its demand constant, just imagination, right, as an assumption, then the profitability should skyrocket, should increase tremendously. Okay. Okay. The last point is, pricing is important because it is a means of comparison. So, reference pricing. So, people, when you go to the market, you to buy a product or any B2B product or B2C product, whatever it is, until unless you have something for references, you will not understand, nobody understands. So, that is why what companies are doing, they give you, nowadays they give you several combinations of products. For example, when you buy a mobile, so they give you different features, right, so that you can compare, let us say, this company X with A and B, let us say, which is maybe their own models, right, and this is a new model, let us say, so that you can refer, compare and say ki this is a better one, right. Or even largely what people do is that they tend to compare the prices in the market among the competitive products, and after taking the competition into act, then they try to decide whether they would particularly buy one brand or the other brand. Okay. So, these are some aspects which says why pricing is important. Now, the question is, what happens when the price is set too high? What happens? Is it a good sign or is it a bad thing? What happens? Generally, if we say, if you look by the past example where we said if you 1% rise in price will lead to 11%, by going by that, we should the price, the profitability of the company should increase. But is it true? Let us see. There is a large chance that you will lose market share. So, price volume trade off is a important thing that comes into play, right. Now, if I am, as I said here, price volume. So, P1, let us say V1, which is price which was previously there and the volume that we were selling, let us say, should be equal to, at least it should be equal to P2 V2. But in case the volume goes down tremendously and let us say the situation changes, now P1 V1 is after this is a P1 and this condition is P1 is greater than P2, let us say. So, because of this, if this changes, now the total revenue that you were generating from P1 V1 was greater than now the after increasing the price to P2, the volume decrease, because of the volume decrease the total revenue is coming down, possible, right. So, you may lose the market share and thus lose your revenue, total revenue. When the price is set too high, sometimes customers may think it is an irrelevant product, we do not require it. So, they would try to ignore the product. Investors start doubting, why is the price so high, right? What is the point of keeping so much of price, because this may lead to poor sales. So, the investors mind a doubt may come, right, why is the price so high. Sometimes in the case of books, I will give an example. You will see that if you go to Amazon or somewhere and try to search for books, most of the books you will find, maybe if you Indian price I am saying, maybe in the range of let us say somewhere around 200 to let us say 1000 rupees maximum, right. So, but some books suddenly you will find that it is written 9000 rupees, right. Now, why is that? So, is this book so good that it is made such a high price? One of my own book, right, which was earlier selling at 400 rupees, something around 400, 450 rupees, right, now has been made to 900 rupees. Why? The reason is because now the publisher is saying that I would only produce on demand, because of COVID and all, demand for books went down. So, they could not produce and they said we will only produce when we have sufficient demand and then we will sell at 900 rupees. So, if there is a demand at the price of 900, then only we will publish this book. Now, this is, so that is what I am trying to say is all the time increase in price may not be a very favorable option. Customers may get angry because of the high price, they may feel cheated. So, this is one situation when the price is set too high. Now, on the contrary, what happens when the price is set too low? Okay, let us see. Loss of profit. Unnecessarily you reduce the price. Suppose you could have charged 50,000 rupees for a computer and because of your lack of understanding, even the customers like it, everything is good, but you are charging let us say 42,000 rupees. So, on every computer you are desktop you are losing 8,000 rupees. Now, this 8,000 rupees multiplied by the number is just your simple loss of profit, right. Had you just understood what is the customer ready to pay, right, willing to pay, what we say in marketing terms is called willing to pay. So, if you could have known that the customer is ready to pay somewhere around 50,000 rupees, let us say around 50,000, at least you could have minimized your losses, right, that could have increased your profits in one way. So, now instead of selling at 42,000, maybe you could have sold at let us say 48,000, right. Now, 6,000 you could have at least gained on a computer. When price is set too low, sometimes it may not increase volume all the time. This is a general condition or of the mind that human beings feel or people feel that if price will come down, volume will increase. But may not be true. Many situations, if you go to the local market and try to buy something, right, some vegetable or any food item, and suddenly you find that one of the vendors is asking you a price which is low, right. Everybody is selling at let us say 100 rupees per kilo and suddenly one vendor is selling at let us say 75 rupees or 80 rupees, right, 80 rupees per kilo. I can challenge that you might not like the product, you might ignore that product, you might avoid that product, right. Why? Because you will feel that the quality of the product might be bad, that is why he is selling, because otherwise others are all selling at 100 rupees. But the actual reason could be that the person has produced too much in his own backyard or garden and he is able to sell it, but then people will not realize it. Or that is another possibility is that the person who is selling at 80 rupees, he wants to run away to his home fast after selling and winding up his business, that is also possible. But people might not understand until and unless this thing is communicated to the consumer very clearly. Okay. So, may not increase volume, people will doubt quality, this is just what I said. No, the quality of the good may be inferior, otherwise why would he unnecessarily sell at such a low cost. And because of this low price and all, the firm itself may become insolvent. the business may run into losses. Okay. So, these are some of the risks that are attached when the price is set too low. Okay. Now, let us come to the B2B purchase. So, in a B2B space or a B2B market, the process of buying is very complex. So, a balance has to be created between the price against the perceived benefits. That means, what we say is, in simple terms, every marketer tries to or should try to understand the value that the customer gives to a product. Now, what is value? Now, value is equal to benefit, right, minus the sacrifice. So, value is the benefit minus the sacrifice. So, what is the benefit you are getting? Maybe the monetary benefit. So, you can get monetary benefit, that by using this machinery or this particular software, which today I am maybe buying at 10% higher cost than the competitor's product, but eventually I am saving 30% of my total revenue, right, total cost of operation. So, in a overall business I am saving, right. So, what is the benefit? So, monetary versus psychological. So, psychological is something where sometimes by wearing a Rolex watch or driving a Mercedes Benz, you feel that greatness, that status symbol, and you get more business because others also perceive you as a big businessman, right. So, this can be some benefits. Okay. What are the sacrifice? The cost that you make, right. So, the costs that you are bearing could be, for example, the raw material cost, the price of the product that you are paying, and then after using the product, the kind of defects that happens, then the maintenance and other costs, all this taken together will be the sacrifice. How do customers use the products? So, for example, in B2B, one interesting behavior is that there could be multiple uses of a product, right. One product can have multiple users, multiple applications. Now, in such a condition, if a product has too many applications and can be used in multiple places, do not you think the demand for the product or the price of the product should be higher than the competitor's product? So, that is where also marketers have to see how do the customers use the products. Okay. What monetary and psychological value do customers derive, which I just mentioned, and what is the impact of the government's rules and regulations, their exchange rate, inflationary conditions, price controls, how do they affect? So, these are some things which will affect entirely the business. So, after all this, the business, the marketer has to understand how to set the price. Okay, we understood the situation, we understood what happens when it is low or high, we understood it. Now, how do we set the price then? Price setting is challenging, right? It is challenging, no doubt about it. It is not as simple as like your promotion or something. Requiring the collection and analysis of information about the company's goals. What is the company's long term goal, right? Whether the company wants to increase its market share, be a long term player, or maximize its revenues now and then go into another product, right. What is the goal and objective, and what is the cost structure, right, the customer's preferences and needs, and the competition's pricing and the strategic intent. So, these are some things which the company needs to know before setting a price. So, how do the customers are using my product, what is my goal and objective, and what is the consumers preferences, how are they applying it. Even the best marketers struggle to synthesize data, right, to maximize their profit. The price setting task is all the more challenging because of its importance to the organization, right. Because it is very important, it becomes even more challenge to understand, and so many customers are there and everybody is buying differently. So, how do we make one price for all? That is the challenge, right. A good pricing decision can improve profits dramatically, a poor one can invoke a competitive response. Now, suppose you do not understand pricing well. See, pricing is not about only increasing your profit directly. Sometimes you may get affected by the competition. Now, because you reduce the price, the competitors also reduce their price, right, or they gave a better product at a relatively similar price. Now that will affect you very badly, right, and it can create a price war like situation that will destroy profits for all. And these kind of situations have happened in the past where companies have fought among each other for in terms of price. Now when you talk about setting the price, three things are important. Setting a price window. Now what is a window? Now when I am saying a price window, I am saying, let us say there is a upper ceiling and there is a lower ceiling, right. Let us say this is where this is where your competition is competitor's price is coming. You have a ceiling. So, you understand that the value the customer is ready to pay is minimum is this much and maximum is this much. Now, you are in a position to understand ki where would I price the product. So, then after understanding, so here setting the initial price range based on differential value and relevant cost. So, what is the cost I am incurring and what is the differential value that the customer is feeling. Differential value is positive differential and negative differential. Means what? Now, positive differential means when the customer feels by using this product he or she is getting more benefits, and negative is when he feels that he is getting less benefits in comparison to the competitor's product. Okay. Now, what is the key question here? What is the appropriate price ceiling for this product? What is the role of the cost in setting my price range? These are the two questions which you have to ask while defining the price window, that window, right. Then is setting the initial price, determine amount of differential value to be captured. Now, how much, where should I place myself? Now, you have to answer these questions first. Is the price point consistent with the overall business objective? Now, you see, I have this window. Now, I can place my price here, here, right, here, anywhere, right, infinite I can put anywhere my price. So, now the question is, obviously you must be thinking why will not somebody place the price this one, the upper limit, but then you have to understand, okay, the the buyer is ready to pay you maximum this much, but that is not what he is ready to, he is okay, he is understanding, he will be ready to pay, no doubt about it. But given an opportunity, when you realistically do it in the market, he may not buy your product because he feels that okay, your product is worth, but then I do not want to pay it so much, right. Example, now you must be thinking of an example. Let us say a person, when you are walking on a street and it is very hot, right, you want to drink a glass of water or a bottle of water. Now, when you at that point, if somebody tells you that the bottle of water is, let us say 100 rupees, you may even be ready to pay that. But if you come to know with some little information which is prevalent in the market, that just after 50 meters there is a shop and where you can find a bottle of water at, let us say 40 rupees, right, or 30 rupees or 20 rupees, right, whatever the price. Would you buy this product? Then may not be. So, considering the market realities and the amount of information that you have in your hand, then you may choose any price, right. So, what happens, marketers tend to lie somewhere in between in this price window. Okay. The third thing, okay, here the questions are, for example, what is my business objective? So, my business objective is, for example, a long term orientation, I want to stay in the market for a long time. Or what are the non-value related determinants of price sensitivity? So, some what factors are affecting the price sensitivity of this product, that also will be important. And what is the price volume trade off? Now, how much of price volume trade off happening, this which I explained you, P1 V1, P2 V2, right. And the final thing is you have to communicate this price to the market. As I said, if you are selling at 80 rupees, the vendor was selling at 80 rupees his goods, the market would feel that this is an inferior good. Or let us say another vendor was, let us say generally the vendor was rupees 100, one vendor is selling at 80 and another is selling at 150. Both this vendor and this vendor, both, they have to somewhere communicate to the market why they are selling at 150 or 80. He wants to say that I want to go away immediately, closing my business, and he says that I want to give you at this cost because I have not used any fertilizer, I have, my product is completely fertilizer free, it is a no pollution, it is a very good thing, organic in nature, healthy for you. So, until unless he tells it to the customer, communicates it with the customer, why would the customer pay, right? So, this communication is very important when you set a price. Develop a communication plan to ensure prices are perceived to be fair. It is a fair price. Now, what is the question? What is the best approach to communicate price changes to customers? Companies have to think about it. And what are the considerations for implementing significantly higher prices? So, when should you go for a higher price, and how do you communicate to your customer? So, today nowadays, as you know that in the B2B space, normal advertising does not function, right? You need to, either you are in a trade show, you participate, or you through the social media you target your main customers and try to educate them why you are selling at this price, and with this only you can maybe get benefit out of it, right? So, today I will wind up this lecture here with this, and I will meet you in the next lecture. I will continue with pricing. I will go forward. Till then, take care and thank you very much.